features the programs with the best records in the Lone Star State. It's 6-1 Houston versus 7-0 SMU. This is ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Sonos. With the College Football Hall of Famer Matt Stinchcomb, I'm Taylor Zarzour. Alyssa Lang's on the field. You'll see her in just a second. This ESPN app predicts every game going into the game. On paper, Matt Stinchcomb, it says it's the closest matchup we've seen so far in college football.
As the season has unfolded, that's been borne out. You mentioned the records earlier. Houston hasn't dropped a game since the season opener. They've been on quite a tear, and they'll be opposite an unblemished record in SMU. This should be a fantastic contest here tonight in the American Athletic Conference.
Yeah, and they go about it different ways. SMU offensively is one of the best teams in college football.
They have been prolific all season long. North of 500 yards, 525 on average per game, but it's been coupled with points. 43 points a game, largely powered by the passing attack in Tanner Mordecai. He distributes the football very well. They've been explosive in the passing game, but they also have that consistent drumbeat in their rushing attack, something that is going to have to figure very prominently here tonight versus Houston.
Meanwhile, for those Cougars, defensively, they've put up unbelievable numbers getting to the quarterback.
What they do better than anything else is pressure offenses, negative yardage plays, and they affect the passer, something that they're going to have to do well here tonight. Tanner Mordecai has enjoyed a clean pocket almost all season long for SMU. That will likely not be the case versus this Houston front four. They are excellent at pressuring the passer.
We know Cincinnati's Desmond Ridder is one of the best quarterbacks in America, but these two tonight are pretty strong too. Alyssa Lang has more on them when we return to Houston. You're watching the American Conference on ESPN. The American Conference has great quarterbacks. Two of the best are playing in this game tonight. For more on them, we go to the field and Alyssa Lang.
Guys, both of these quarterbacks coming in with a ton of confidence for different reasons. You look at Houston quarterback Clayton Tune. Week 1 was a performance he'd like to forget. 4 interceptions in a loss against Texas Tech. I asked him what's been the emphasis since then. He said mental toughness, focusing on the good things. And since then, in Houston's 6-game win streak, 10 touchdown passes to just 2 interceptions. Now on the other side for SMU, Tanner Mordecai, coaches say he's a steady Eddie. He doesn't get too up, too down. It doesn't matter if it's a big game. He's preparing all the same. They said he's not gun shy. He's unafraid. And the numbers show it, leading the country with 29 passing touchdowns so far. Safe to say, a clean pocket tonight going to be important for both sides.
It is. It's also going to be important to watch out for Houston's kick returner, Marcus Jones, who's waiting on the kick from Brendan Hall. Marcus has 8 special teams touchdowns in his career, and he's got 3 this year. Hall kicks it to Jones, and he's coming out from the 1. And he's tripped up shy of the 25-yard line. 74 degrees. Beautiful day. You don't have to worry about storms. We had a 5+ hour delay here last Saturday night. Perfect football weather for Clayton Tune and the Houston Cougars, the junior from Carrollton, Texas. There's a lot of talk about Tanner Mordecai, the SMU quarterback, and certainly Desmond Ridder at UCF. But Stinch, this guy's had a great season. He's second behind Mordecai in completion percentage in the conference.
And a guy that's had to deal with some injuries as well. Really damaged his hamstring in the Rice game, left the game versus Grambling. Healthy here tonight.
Surveying the entire field. Nothing open, but plenty of time, and he dives down near the 26-yard line, a pickup of 4 on the play.
All night long, we'll keep an eye on how active Tune will be. They are scrambling, picking up yards with his legs. He's put up together some pretty impressive rushing performances over the course of his career.
2nd and 6, swings one out to Tank Dell. Nathaniel marked out of bounds, just shy of a first down. It'll be 3rd and short for the Cougs. One of the best in the American Conference, over 40% on this down so far this season.
Talking with Dana Holgerson yesterday, talking about how efficient this offense has been. Hasn't been explosive, but he says we make those garden variety type plays and we do those consistently. That's how they got to a 3rd and manageable in this opening possession.
On 3rd and 1, the true freshman Alton McCaskill bangs away up to the 34, first down Cougars. It's time for our keys to the game, brought to you by Jared.
Well, for SMU, when they have the ball, it's going to be establish their run offense and then winning special teams. You just touched on it, Taylor. Marcus Jones, a dangerous return man, not only in kickoffs, but in punts. For Houston, they got to get those explosive plays, not just the garden variety, to try to keep up with one of the best offenses in college football and control the line of scrimmage, both offensively and defensively for the Cougars.
Tune, plenty of time, bounces off of Jeremy Singleton, had it in his breadbasket. It's 2nd and 10. Tune has been throwing it around the lot, but Dana Holgerson says explosive plays, a lack of them, has been the one issue for this offense so far this season.
And it's not just getting downfield. Like a play like that, you catch it on a comeback route and you're trying to get upfield quickly before you secure the catch.
McCaskill out, Tayson Henry comes in and gets nothing. Elijah Chapman, one of the big defensive ends for SMU there on the stop, and very quickly 3rd and 10 for Houston.
A great job by Chapman, winning the block right now. Jetted his gap, worked across the face of the offensive lineman. Now a 3rd and long, and you mentioned very effective on this down is Houston. They typically face 8 yards or more on this down over the season.
Tune, middle of the field, this time it's caught, and it's Singleton making up for the drop and then some in the red zone and down to the 11-yard line. Armani Johnson finally brought him down, but it's a pickup of 55 for the junior from New Orleans.
Singleton, a season ago, put up big numbers. A guy that was a big part of their offense. Hasn't been as big this year, but a huge conversion there and a yards after the catch. Great run after he secured that catch. Had a drop, rallied, and generates that explosive play that this offense has lacked most of the year.
The true freshman, McCaskill, he's down inside the 10, bangs down to the 7. Tayson Henry, Mulbacar, Chandler Smith. You'll see some other Cougars carry the football, but this is one of the best true freshman tailbacks in America. He's 2nd nationally behind Travion Henderson of Ohio State with 10 rushing touchdowns. In position possibly to get an 11th here. Tune throws to the back corner, wide open, but Keyshawn Carter couldn't get a foot down, just a little bit out of his grasp. 3rd down.
And he's open. He just threw him out of bounds on this one. Too much. Tune having to let go of that football with pressure right in his face, and Carter having to elevate to make the catch, and does, but he was just too close to the boundary right there. You could see he's trying to reach down with that right toe and just ran out of leg.
You see Dana Holgerson, whose offense is 2 of 2 on 3rd down on this drive. This a 3rd and 6. They can get a 1st down if they get it inside the 1. Back corner's open to Dell. Touchdown.
Back to the corner of the end zone again, but Daniel comes down with the catch. And the Cougars touchdown.
Well, that just wasn't efficient. That was also explosive. That's what got him down into scoring position. And Tank Dell, with that connection with Clayton Tune, you can see why he is the most targeted receiver in this offense. He's earned it. Came into the game with 39 catches, notches a couple of more, and he gets the Cougars into the end zone quickly in this one.
Dalton Witherspoon makes it 7-0. The big 55-yard pass to Jeremy Singleton set him up. And then it's Tank Dell, who has 8 touchdown grabs in 16 games for the Cougars. Houston leads number 19 SMU early. Those two guys are responsible for the first score of the game. Toon finding Dell, 7-0 Cougars. Let's take a look at tonight's Chick-fil-A impact players.
It's almost like we could see it coming, huh? I mean, you look at Grant Calcaterra, the tight end for SMU, plays a huge role in their offense, had a big game the other week. And then, of course, Delano Robinson, very active at linebacker for the SMU defense. We've already heard from Tank Dell, Nathaniel Dell at wide receiver, and, of course, Marcus Jones with the touch on that opening kickoff return. Now Jones gets a chance to go out here and play a little defense, show off his defensive back skills.
SMU getting the football at the 25-yard line. Sonny Dykes, Garrett Riley's offense led by Tanner Mordecai, who went 4 years between starts, was a great high school football player in Waco, Texas. Spent 3 years at Oklahoma backing up a variety of quarterbacks before finally getting to cut it loose at SMU. He's the American Offensive Player of the Week for the 3rd time after throwing for 427 yards against Tulane last week.
And he'll be playing behind the 4th different offensive line lineup for SMU this season with Alon Ali at right tackle tonight.
And he immediately hands it off to Bentley, and Ulysses gets up to the 28-yard line. Bentley's been limited. He had over 400 yards rushing in his first 4 games, but he's had an ankle injury that's a bit better, Coach Dyke says. That's why you see him starting the game instead of Trey Siggers or Brandon Epton. On 2nd and 7, Mordecai pumps, somehow gets out of there, and goes down at the 27-yard line. It'll be a loss of 1 on the play.
I don't know how he got out of there, because that pocket collapsed entirely. From the outside, from the inside, there was nowhere for Tanner Mordecai to step up and make that throw, and there was nowhere to go with the ball downfield. He was tackled behind the line of scrimmage for the first sack of the night for this Houston Cougar defense.
3rd and 8. SMU's been terrific on this down all season. A dangerous throw that is over the head of Calcaterra, who's covered up. 3 and out for SMU.
And that's going to be the story most of the night. If Houston can win on early downs and force SMU into 3rd and obvious passing, that will be an advantage. Although on that down on 3rd, SMU offensive front did a pretty good job holding up in protection.
Sonny Dykes has done an outstanding job back in Highland Park. Now wearing Dallas on the SMU jerseys, and boy, they've been outstanding the last 3 years. Been in the top 25 a bunch, but haven't finished the season in the top 25. It's a big goal for Dykes this year. And here's Marcus Jones, and Jones is down just past the 40. Cougars will have good field position with 9:59 to go in the quarter. Toughest challenge for the Mustangs so far this season against these Houston Cougars.
ESPN College Football Primetime is presented by Sonos. Experience game-changing sound made easy, and in part by Taco Bell.
Andre Ware and David Klingler, Kevin Cobb throwing all over the SMU Mustangs through the years, leading the series 21-13-1. SMU head coach Sonny Dykes says SMU fans still remember old Dre throwing for hundreds of yards, winning 95-21 back in 1989. Although SMU has won the last 2 games in this series and won here the last time they played 2 years ago. COVID canceled the game last year. Clayton Toon was terrific in that game 2 years ago as McCaskill running hard into SMU territory for 8 yards.
Yeah, you know, 70-point margin of victory does tend to leave a mark over the years. And, of course, Clayton Toon, his most prolific passing outing as a quarterback here at Houston, 407 yards in that game a couple of years ago. And it looks like McCaskill, after a really physical run, he took a pretty big shot at the end of it. as they attend to him. And it's no secret, in talking with the SMU coaching staff and defensive coordinator Jim Leavitt, they are really impressed. And it's hard not to be with this true freshman. 6'1", just over 200 pounds, but he runs bigger than he measures. When you look at him, he gets behind his pads and does a good job of finishing his runs physically.
Had the game winner, the 25-yarder in overtime against East Carolina last week. He's not putting a lot of pressure on that right leg. Grew up 45 miles north of here at Oak Ridge High School. Has been outstanding this year with nearly 500 yards rushing and becoming the premier tailback. So now Tazon Henry, the transfer from Texas Tech, will come in on a 2nd and 2. Fake to him. Toon wants to throw the deep ball. He's got a man down there. Dell again. 48 yards for Dell. The sophomore has 2 touchdowns in the first few minutes.
Well, who is worrying you? If you're a defensive player for SMU, it's number 1. He's the guy that makes you nervous. The issues for Houston offensively have largely been because they couldn't hold up in protection. Tonight, so far, SMU electing to only bring 3, sometimes 4 rushers. Clean pocket, and Clayton Toon throws a strike to his favorite target.
Don't blink. It's 14-0 Cougars. Just 5.5 minutes into the game. Toon to Dell once. Toon to Dell twice. Houston 14. Number 19 SMU nothing. That man already has 2 touchdown receptions in the game. Nathaniel Tank Dell, just 5.5 minutes in, catching balls from Clayton Toon, who's been terrific. No matter if the field is shortened in the red zone or he slings it long.
He's just been lights out early on in this one. And you think about his ability to generate those explosive plays. The idea that we came in here is going, look, now, this offense has been more efficient than anything else, but they haven't been able to stretch defenses. Boy, they have changed that narrative early in this game.
Tuesday, we'll have the exclusive reveal of the college football playoff top 25 rankings. Reese and the guys will break them down from top to bottom, have coaches' reactions, as well as a live interview with committee chairman Gary Barta, the University of Iowa AD. That's at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN and the ESPN app. One tap. I think everybody believes, at least the coaches and the writers, that Georgia is the number 1 team in America. They're the unanimous number 1 team in those polls. Cincinnati might have the win of the year, winning at Notre Dame. Interesting to see where those teams are on Tuesday night. That ball is at the feet of the intended receiver, Danny Gray. It's incomplete. You know, SMU has been down 14 points before. They were down 21-7 to Navy, but ended up coming back to win this game. All due respect to the middies, the Houston Cougars are a different animal.
And now they're in an empty backfield set. And the question is, can your 5 offensive linemen hold up versus 4 and now 5 rushers?
Mordecai drifts back, and again, it's incomplete. Looking for Reggie Robertson. Nice breakup by Alex Hogan. It's 3rd down.
This is something that SMU hasn't seen a lot of this season. Houston will challenge you in coverage. They will play man. They don't have to bring pressure, but they can. They did there. The pocket has not been holding up well for Mordecai in the few pass attempts we've seen already. Now they'll only have 3 designated rushers.
Underneath throw to Robertson. Nice cut. A flag does come in as he's past midfield into Cougar territory. Cougars believe this one is coming back. Tonight's referee is Charles Lamartina.
A heck of a cut by Reggie Robertson. in space will be likely all for naught. Robertson did a great job of denying what would have been a really fine open field tackle, and that's what you see offenses do. When that pressure is getting home, what do? You start running these slow down plays, quarterback draws, screen plays. You want those rushers to start thinking, hey man, maybe they're baiting me upfield. That was almost a well-executed play by the Mustangs.
He's saying there is no foul for offensive pass interference, so it does stand as a 26-yard completion to Robertson into Cougar territory. First down for SMU.
That was a great individual effort, and not timely play call, but the circumstances dictated it, but Robertson made it work.
Mordecai almost goes down to a knee to field that, and Bentley is then off to the races. Ulysses inside the 10, 1st and goal SMU, down at the 3.
What a great job by the left side of that Mustang offensive front. They collapsed the entire side of the line of scrimmage. Nice cut by Bentley. A couple of missed tackles right there in the box. Houston's done a good job of that tackling this year. That time, at least 2 missed tackles.
Ankle looked pretty good, though he is favoring it a bit as he comes over to the sideline. Coach Dykes asking him, you know, now this is interesting.
Yeah.
Because what Charles Lamartina just said is they're going to review to see if Mordecai's knee was down when he fielded the snap.
And keep in mind, we talked about that reshuffled offensive front. And Taylor, you saw it right out of the gate. The low snap. Alon Ali is playing. It looks like that left knee, from a distance anyway, it looks like that left knee is down. Low snap from Hickman. Well, it definitely looks like his knee is down. His foot is in the way. You can't actually see the knee make contact. It does look like he kind of bounces off the turf. This is a 50-yard swing, potentially. You're talking about either a play that goes for -4 yards or plus 46.
Right. It's a difference in really 50 yards. I mean, this is at the 49-yard line. Bentley off to the races after he got the ball from Mordecai. Tonight's replay official is Rick Jackson. Christopher Smith is the replay communicator. This is what they're studying right now. I think that first look from the 50-yard line on this side is the one that they'll really look at. Here it is right here. This is the 46-yard line, and that right there looks like his knee is down. And he's saying that his knee is down.
Wow. Negates one heck of an effort by Ulysses Bentley. Picked up a great block by Jordan Curley as well downfield. That's more than frustrating because you're looking at, that's your everyday operation. You know, Marcus Bryant at right tackle goes down. Alon Ali, your regular starter at center, who was at left tackle last week, has to flex all the way out.
And he almost did it the play before that, too, where Mordecai barely was able to get it without kneeing the ball. And that was the first down of the game for SMU. So instead of a 46-yard run, it's a 5-yard loss. 2nd and 15. Trey Siggers into the game as Bentley hobbled off. And again, trouble with the snap. And Siggers makes something out of nothing, getting 1 yard, but Mordecai didn't field that one cleanly.
You know, they were in the pistol that time, and Mordecai has to turn around quickly to get that handoff executed. As you see, Branson Hickman, who was in there at center, he's working on that right arm a little bit. I don't know if his pads are bothering him. Sometimes when you see him doing that, maybe he fell on his shoulder, separated that shoulder, you'll see him do that. Regardless, they need that snap clean.
3rd down and 14 for the Mustangs, who have to get inside the Cougar 40 to move the chains.
This is where you see the draws and screens.
And a slant, and it's well short as Rice makes the catch and Marcus Jones makes the tackle. It's 4th down.
I saw Rice get up, and Rice thought he had the first down. He didn't realize you just got back to the original line of scrimmage. He was looking over there at the down marker on his sideline. He thought that he had picked up the yardage needed. That was just to get back to where this drive was initiated.
Second punt of the game for Brendan Hall, freshman from Springtown. It's a good directional punt that Jones will field around the Mustangs at the 12-yard line. 6:52 left in the first quarter. Cougars scoring on each of their first 2 possessions and get it up 2 touchdowns here midway through the first quarter. Toon finding Dell twice for scores.
Cougars get a fresh set of downs from the 12.
Toon to Henry, and Henry is hit by Brian Massey at the 14-yard line, only picks up a couple.
It'll be interesting to see how the Houston run game looks for the balance of this contest. If we don't get Alton McCaskill back, Henry, Texas Tech transfer, a ton of transfers on both these rosters, certainly on Houston's. Henry had 42 carries coming into this game. So far, pretty balanced. 6 runs, 6 pass.
Henry running behind his pads, just short of the 20, up to the 19-yard line.
You know, we talked about the line of scrimmage in this game, and it's evident SMU is conscious of it and the perhaps disadvantage they have versus the Cougar defensive front, but also for Houston to establish it offensively. And so far, they've done a good job in protection and in the run lanes.
Three of 3 are the Cougars on third down. Here comes the pressure. Toon gets rid of it. Make it 4 for 4. Past the 20, up to the 27-yard line. Again, it's Jeremy Singleton. Crossley on the tackle.
And Singleton coming in here, getting more targets. Only had 9 catches coming into the game tonight. Was one of the favored receivers, more productive receivers in previous seasons. Established early in this game.
Toon wants to throw the deep ball again. Diving for it is Kashawn Carter, and he got it inside the 45-yard line.
Again, attacking the middle of the field. We've seen it on the shallow cross earlier, and this time, great job by Carter. Another Texas Tech transfer. Comes up with a great catch downfield.
He gets 27 yards on the completion. Looks like they want to take another look at it.
27 yards on the completion.
Previous play of the completed catch is under further review.
Certainly looked like he juggled it first, but he had those arms underneath the ball stench and looked like he maintained control of the ball all the way through the ground.
You see it almost had it propped up against his face mask initially, but I don't see it making contact with the turf ever, actually. I mean, he ultimately has firm control there at the end of the catch. I don't see anywhere where the ball even made contact with the ground.
Terrific effort. It would be his 100th career catch. Had 83 catches for the Red Raiders of Texas Tech for transferring here to the Cougars.
And rule the catch on the field. Has to be indisputable video evidence to say, no, this is not a catch. And it looks to us like it's pretty clear Carter did a great job of completing that effort.
So it does stand. It's confirmed, in fact. And you see that emotion pour out of Carter. Again, his 100th career reception in college.
That is the 3rd play already in this game of 20 yards or more for this Cougar offense. And they are getting well so far in that area. They said that was the area we have to be better in. You can tell that Dana Holgorsen has been intentional, and the execution has been there.
Total domination by the Cougar offense so far. And another strike. This time goes to the tight end, Christian Trahan. He's inside the 35 for 12 more. To the field, and Alyssa.
Clayton Tune threads some tight windows so far tonight. He said one of the things he's improved the most in his collegiate career, reading defenses. He said when he left high school, he didn't really know much about defensive formations. It's something he spent a ton of time working on so far here at Houston. You can tell it's paid off. Also of note, guys, number 12, the safety for SMU, Isaiah Wokobia, is on the sidelines right now on the bike. We'll keep you posted on that.
Okay, thank you. True freshman from Dallas, become a good defensive back for Sonny Dykes' team. Little trickeration back to Tune to the end zone. Incomplete. Looking for Dell again, but it bounces off of Brian Massey. Second down.
Well, Tune tries to throw him open, and he's just a little bit late because it gives Brian Massey just enough time to rally to this football. Now, people are going to say, what, he didn't turn his head around. He had contact with the ball before he made contact with the receiver. And we just got done talking about Isaiah Wokobia. He's not out there. Wokobia was the one that gave up the big touchdown earlier, was beaten in the slot for the big touchdown throw. That time, good job by Brian Massey.
Tune keeps drifting back, throws to Henry out of the backfield, and he's inside the 35, down back near the 34. It's actually a loss of one. It'll be third and long.
You know, that time, Mustang defensive front did a much better job of affecting Clayton Tune. He had to move off of his spot, ended up checking that football down wisely. Really the first time tonight where we've seen the passer of the Cougar offense influenced by the Mustang pass rush.
They've been perfect on third down, and it doesn't matter if it's third and long. 4 of 4 so far for the Cougs on third down, and first Dana Holgorsen sees that clock running out. It's the first timeout for Coach Holgo. He was in his third year at Houston, just 7-13 in his first 2 seasons, but 6-1 this season after 8 years at West Virginia, where he had 2 10-win seasons. He said the biggest turnaround, biggest reason, Stinch, for the turnaround is the buy-in. He said something that can't be repeated a couple of times, the give a bleep factor. We've seen bleeps. We've seen bleeps here on ESPN for Houston games in the past. So how about this? The care factor is higher for Coach Holgo and his team this year.
Yeah. To channel a Les Milesism, the want, perhaps. Yeah, they definitely have been reinfused with that enthusiasm. And I think that intentionality. You know, there was a lot of coaches that blew through this program, not just head coaches, but at the assistant and coordinator level. And this program was a little bit scarred by that.
What does he dial up on 3rd and 11? Tune facing heavy pressure. He gets out. He's short of the first down, but he's out of bounds near the 33. Richard Moore.
Back-to-back plays by the Mustang defensive front, and they're able to get to Tune. And they're just running stunts that time. So your edge rushers are folding in towards the interior portion of that protection. And if you don't get clean pass-offs amongst that offensive front, next thing you know, you got a rusher right in the face of the quarterback.
That's a long one here for Dalton Witherspoon for 50 yards. His long of the season is 48. His career long at Houston's 53. And he draws that one right through there. Witherspoon, the senior from Moore, Oklahoma, with his longest field goal of the season. He's struggled beyond 40 yards, just 2 of 7 before that kick.
And it seems kind of insignificant, right? You see a quarterback scramble, but Clayton Tune just getting as much as he possibly could on that scramble, and it was just enough to give Witherspoon the distance he could handle. And so far, The Cougars able to build the largest deficit of the season now for Southern Methodist University.
Perfect conditions to kick in. Witherspoon in warm-ups making from 52, which is why Dana Holgerson and the special teams decided he's got enough leg to give it a go.
You know, it's always funny because you see them doing that in warm-ups, but it's like what Rowdy said to Cole Trickle in Days of Thunder. Let's see how you do it in a crowd. It's totally different when you got bodies flying all around.
I love that you just referenced that. Bubba Baxa gets the fair catch to Austin Upshaw. Here are a few of featured AAC events on ESPN Plus. Every Thursday, the Hilltop gives you a behind-the-scenes look into the Mustang football program. Tomorrow, the Mustang women's volleyball team hosts East Carolina at 2 Eastern. And Tuesday, November 9th, the Cougars men's basketball team tips off their season against Hofstra at 8 Eastern. If you're an AAC fan, you got to have it. Sign up today at espnplus.com/AAC. What does SMU do, Stinch? Down 17-0 already.
You know, absent a bad snap, they had a great series before.
And it's Siggers who gets past the 30-yard line for 7 yards. Still very early. Just get that offense going if you're Sonny Dykes and offensive coordinator Garrett Riley.
Yeah, get that ground game established if you can. Plenty of time yet.
That one dropped, best of 35, just a little high for Rasheed Rice. Demarion Williams right there in coverage, 3rd down.
High with that ball from Tanner Mordecai, and he's one of the most accurate passers in college football and has done a pretty good job even when he has to move around, 71%. And typically a sure-handed core, only 18 drops coming into this game. That's fantastic considering the amount of passes they throw in this offense.
Mordecai on a slant, and at the 39-yard line, it appears Danny Gray held on to it with Marcus Jones all over him. 1st down.
The coverage was tight. The throw was right on target. Danny Gray, he is their primary target in the passing game. There's no doubt. He had to fight for that ball. Jones almost broke that pass up. Gray with great concentration to make that catch.
Yeah, that ball went down to his leg, but never hit the ground. Mordecai again almost kneeling the ball, and Siggers gets up to the 45-yard line. It's a pickup of 4 on the play. Marcus Jones has been all over the field on defense for the Cougars.
See the play call though there. Delayed draw just a little bit. See if you can bait that defensive front upfield. Just enough to get a positive yardage there on 1st down.
Siggers out, Bentley in, fake to him, into the sidelines. That ball caught by Reggie Robertson. And Robertson comes down to the 49-yard line. He now has a catch in 30 straight games. He originally started for Dana Holgerson at West Virginia 4 years ago before transferring back home to Texas. He caught that tip ball Hail Mary against Louisiana Tech to stun Louisiana Tech and win the game. Bentley in space inside the 45. He gets 9 more.
A great block that time by Robertson. He's the difference in the gainer right there. That run bends all the way back to the left-hand side. Robertson did a great job of stalk blocking downfield. So far, balanced attack, 3 runs, 3 passes, staying out of those obvious passing downs.
First quarter running out of time. Mordecai wants it all. Has a man down there and got him. Touchdown, Jordan Curley. 43-yard pass from Mordecai to Curley on the last play of the first quarter.
Well, you ask, what do you do right there to get the answer? We already saw a big run earlier by Bentley. It gets brought back by a bad snap effectively. They took a shot downfield. He wanted to take a shot downfield earlier on that play action pass on 2nd down. Pressure got to him. That time they changed the launch point, moved the pocket on purpose, and were able to get the ball downfield.
Blake Mazza with the extra point, and at the end of one, Houston 17, number 19 SMU 7. Cougars come out like gangbusters, but Mordecai answers, finding Curley to get the Mustangs on the board. It is a beautiful night for some AAC football in Houston.
ESPN, home of the college football playoff semifinals. Friday, December 31st on ESPN.
Wonderful time of the year, isn't it? SMU in their first 2 drives tonight, just 27 total yards. That last drive, 7 plays, 75 yards, including the 43-yard touchdown pass to Jordan Curley from Tanner Mordecai. And Houston will get it at the 25. Let's see what's happening in some other games tonight. Send it back to the studio. Here's Zubin Mehenti and EJ Manuel.
Hey, Taylor, thank you very much. We've got some major news here in college football. We'll get to it in just 1 second. EJ, Bigsby to give Auburn the lead on the Plains.
Yeah, look, 23 personnel, 2 running backs, 3 tight ends. Auburn punches it in, Tank Bigsby over the top.
And here's the big news, Taylor. Matt Corral, clutching that left ankle, left leg, goes down, writhing in pain, was carted off the field at Jordan-Hare Stadium. As soon as we hear anything, we will let you know. Major development for maybe one of the Heisman favorites. Taylor?
There's no question, Zubin, that he was headed to New York if he can remain healthy for the remaining games. Corral's had an outstanding season for the Rebels. Hope he's okay. Hate to see that. Tazon Henry gets ahead to the 28-yard line. Stinch and Alyssa and I have been broadcasting games in the SEC the last few years. Corral has been fun to watch.
Special talent. That's a massive understatement, to say the least. He's been banged up. You know, people thought, is he going to make it out there in the LSU game? Finds his way out there, plays well enough, but he's taking some shots. He's not scared to run the football. We talked about here in this game, Clayton Tune banged up, but a gamer. He's looked healthy here tonight.
Underneath, little tight end pass. Nice job going down the field by Trahan to stay on his feet up to the 44-yard line. It's a pickup of 16.
And we talk about Tank Dell, number 1. Their second favorite receiver is at tight end, Christian Trahan. And you can see why. Sure-handed, but does a good job getting upfield right now. And that's a big body rumbling through your secondary. 250 pounds. He's not scared to use that size to pick up another 3 yards or so as those DBs trying to bring him to the ground.
He only had 23 career catches before this season. Already has more than that this year. Now Tune has a man open again. Coming back to the ball is Dell. And he's stopped at the 4-yard line, preventing the touchdown is Bryce McMorris, but Dell running free all night, Stinch.
It's the play-action pass that's eating them up in that secondary. And Dell, who we knew had the type of speed to get behind your secondary, but you're throwing on these early downs. Not running the football a ton. Neither offense is, but it's enough to make it matter. You run heavy play action on first and then take a shot downfield.
That's the third of 40-plus, 52 yards on that one. Tune just goes down back at the 11, swallowed up by Richard Moore, the Texas A&M transfer. It's a big loss back to the 11.
Oh, that time really just nowhere to go with the football for Tune. You see he wanted to work to the left of the formation, didn't like what he had, and by then protection was starting to break down. We talked about that. That's been the issue. Part of the reason why there hasn't been a ton of consistency, especially with those explosive plays. You got to have the time on that play action on first down, all the time in the world. That time, nowhere to go with the football on the condensed end of the field.
2nd and 11, straight ahead goes Carr. And Mulba Carr, who was the leading rusher for Houston last year, has now become a situational player, picks up 5, 3rd and goal Cougs from the Mustang 6.
Carr more of a thumper. Well, McCaskill available. Doesn't have that much twitch like McCaskill would. And you think in the red zone, a big body down here at the bottom of the screen. Here's Trahan.
Toon under pressure, and it's almost picked off. It was deflected by Armani Johnson, and the Mustang defense will force a field goal attempt.
How about that? Dial up pressure from the edge. He's unaccounted for in the protection scheme. The center judge said right now, immediately, that he said that was a deflected pass, not a fumble. He was definitely working to the left side of the formation where Trahan was.
And Isaac Slade-Matatia almost picked it off, so instead, a chip shot attempt for Dalton Witherspoon from 23 yards away. And he gives the Cougars 3 more points. You got to give Bryce McMorris credit. He prevented the touchdown on the 51-yard completion to Dell and gave the Cougars only 3. And it's coming up tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern over on ESPN Sunday NFL Countdown, presented by Snickers. Here, the Houston Cougars have scored all 4 times they've had the football. 2 touchdowns followed by 2 field goals, leading number 19 SMU 20-7 in the second quarter. With Alyssa Lang and Matt Stinchcomb, I'm Taylor Zarzer. Mustangs will get it at the 25. Hey, Zubin, what's happening in the horseshoe with Ohio State and Penn State?
I'm glad you asked. Time now for the AT&T Countdown to the CFP National Championship, where we take a look at Columbus. Clifford TD pass here, EJ.
Great throw, and he finds his tight end on a little lake, shallow route right there. Finds him for 6.
Taylor, by the way, Corral's back in the game, and Ole Miss just scored.
Well, that's good news for at least Ole Miss fans, and that he's healthy.
I think there's like a causal relationship between those two. Corral comes back into the game and Ole Miss scores.
Yes. Lane Kiffin, Jeff Lebby have one of the best offenses in the country. So do the Mustangs and Sonny Dykes. And Ulysses Bentley gets 1 yard. Dykes has Garrett Riley calling the plays. Yes, Lincoln's little brother. Garrett's done an amazing job in his 2 years here as the 31-year-old offensive coordinator, taking Tanner Mordecai from his big brother, Lincoln Riley, in Oklahoma.
Done a great job of repurposing some of his brother's players, right? Mordecai, Calcaterra as well.
On 2nd and 9, he gets it off with a flag down. And it's caught by Rashee Rice for a few, but let's see what's going on in the backfield. We do have an injured SMU Mustang, too.
Well, and Ulysses Bentley limped off the field before this play. They substituted Siggers in there. Line judge threw a flag, as did the head referee, it looked like, in the backfield.
Fouls in the play or against the defense. Offside.
We're having audio issues with our referees, Mike, Charles Lamartina. They're roughing the passer penalty. Will go against SMU's Derek Parrish, and it is a first down. Houston was also offsides on the play. That part declined, so it's a 15-yard penalty on Houston with an injured SMU offensive lineman still on the field. And as soon as we get a chance to see his number, we'll take a look.
Yeah, I think it's Alon Ali, number 77. If so, that is a huge blow. As we mentioned him earlier, he started out at center. He's played left tackle. Tonight he's playing right tackle.
It is Alon Ali. Stench. Not putting a lot of pressure on that knee.
You see him on the right there in the middle of your screen. He gets rolled up on there towards the end. And He ended up grabbing, looks like he's grabbing his right knee, and it was his left knee that was nearest defender that rolled up on him low. We already talked about it. This SMU offensive front, they've had to find guys to step up. Now once again, having to find yet another new face. Now Jalen Thomas in there at left tackle, and I believe it's Bo Morris in at right.
It's the first official penalty of the game. Mordecai wants to take a chance and throws over everybody's head, way over Danny Gray. Back there with him was maybe the fastest man in the stadium, Marcus Jones. So it's now second down. We were talking about Garrett Riley and this playbook that he uses with Tanner Mordecai. There's Riley over there taking notes. Mordecai played quarterback for Mike Leach at Texas Tech, coached with his brother Lincoln at East Carolina. And Trey Siggers doesn't get much. It'll be third and long. In fact, lose two on the play. Riley also coached with Eli Drinkwitz at App State before coming here. And we were talking about getting Mordecai and Grant Calcaterra from his brother over at Oklahoma. He did talk to him before these guys transferred, and he said, it's nice to get the opinion of someone you trust more than anyone in the world.
Yeah, I'll say you can trust him for sure.
Does Mordecai trust his receivers to move the chains here?
Here's your matchup right here. You got your right tackle, a new guy at right tackle, and one of the best pass rushers in college football, and SMU wants to think it over a little bit more.
SMU takes their first charge out of the half. Timeout on the field.
Riley and Sonny Dykes will have some more time to think about what to call on this third down. And SMU's not alone. Houston's got plenty of transfer players as well, but it's taken a lot getting used to for us as we've been calling games for so many years together, Stinch. And just only a couple of years ago, if you transferred, you sat out, you spent a year on the bench practicing before you play with these guys, and now all of a sudden you look through this two deep and you see literally dozens of guys on each side of the football that used to play for another school.
They're quite literally, they're game ready. It's plug and play now, where you can get guys that either they don't like the opportunity where they are. There's all kinds of reasons to want to transfer, but now there's just not that much of an inhibition, right? You move, and then you can play right away. Calcaterra lined up in this bunch right here at the bottom of your screen.
Mordecai can't get out of there. Sacked back at the 36-yard line. It's at Elias Bell, the Iowa Western Community College transfer, with his third sack of the season.
Defensive coordinator Doug Belt loves Elias Bell. He loves all his defensive players. But really, that was a community sack. Bell was just closest to it. All season long, SMU had only allowed 2 sacks. Tonight, they've allowed 2 sacks just in this game alone. Those 2 sacks prior to tonight had happened in the previous 2 games, starting to give up a little bit of pressure.
The Cougars have 30 now on the season, and that's a bad punt from Brendan Hall. The official is running way up the field, trying to get an idea of where they're going to mark it out. Looks like at the 43-yard line. It's just a 21-yard punt, and the Cougars have scored every time they've had the football. 20-7, Houston Cougars lead the number 19 team in America, one of the 8 remaining unbeaten teams in college football. It's almost time for the first CFP rankings release, and that's
how it's going to end up.
Is what Matt Stinchcomb thinks will happen. Georgia, Ohio State, Oklahoma, Oregon, Michigan State, who beat Michigan today, is the first out, and Matt Corral and the Ole Miss Rebels, they could win out and not get to the SEC championship game, finish 11-1, and still be in the picture. Remember, the college football playoff top 25 show presented by Allstate is coming up on Tuesday night as we get ready for the release. I got to challenge some of this. Where are the Cincinnati Bearcats?
They're not in the top 6.
I know. I'm wondering why Tayson Henry doesn't get anything on first down. Alyssa Lang, I'm sure, wants to challenge this as well. I mean, these are the remaining schedules. So where do you think the Bearcats are going to lose?
Well, I think there's a pretty good chance they could lose right here versus SMU here in a couple of weeks. Now, SMU's got some things to fix, and they certainly need to improve their performance here tonight. And who knows? They mess around getting that conference championship game. I'm not so sure that, depending on the winner of this one, if it's this team in the black jerseys, that they couldn't take down Cincinnati.
That's true, and that could happen in the conference in the conference championship game. Chapman on the tackle. Alyssa, do you have the Bearcats in your playoff at the moment?
You know, it's an interesting discussion, and Stinch and I were talking about it before kickoff. If the Bearcats end up going undefeated this season and you don't put them in the playoff, what does that say to the group of 5 teams? Basically, it's never going to happen, right? So I'm curious to see what happens down the stretch. I don't know, though, Stinch. I think they got to be at least in those 2 out.
I guess. I mean, with the 1 loss, and especially if that 1 loss comes to a team with the 1 loss.
2 straight no gains. This one, a dangerous pass. Somehow the interception was missed by Armani Johnson, and Tank Dell makes the catch. Looks like he's a yard shy of the first down.
Wow.
And fans, don't forget to go to ESPN.com/All-State Playoff Predictor to check out your team's chances to make the college football playoff.
Armani Johnson's been on a couple of big plays. He was the one that got to Tune, forced the field goal on the earlier possession, and then that time a near pick and going for it here on 4th down.
Mulbacar in the backfield. He gets the football and he bangs into Mustangs. He fumbles the ball, and that is well shy of the first down as Tune recovered it. But Houston, who was 9 of 11 on 4th downs this season, just met one of the best defenses in the country on 4th down.
Pretty bold call right there at midfield, and that ball popped out right now. I don't think Carr was going to get the conversion anyway. Heads up play by Tune. Could have been a scoop and score, and it was Elijah Chapman who set the tone early in this game. Got a tackle for loss, and that time was the one that got there to Carr, and Dana Holgerson rolling the dice there at midfield, and now a 50-yard football field. Look at him challenging his offensive front. You can't pick up a yard.
Mordecai pumps. He wants to throw it out of the backfield, and it's Siggers running free. No one in front of him. Touchdown. The defense gets off the field on 4th down, and the Mustang offense makes them pay 1 play later.
There's one haymaker after another in this game. If it's not big shots downfield, we've already seen 1 long run called back, and this time what is effectively an extended handoff. Tanner Mordecai finding Trey Siggers in the flats. No one in coverage. He just turned on the jets. How about this? We've seen this before from SMU. They get down and they can climb right back in it.
Blake Mazza makes it a 6-point game after the 50-yard completion from Mordecai to the man out of the backfield from Duncanville, Texas. Mordecai had time to even pump on this play. Nobody in front of Siggers here in Houston. We've got a 1-score game at TD ECU Stadium. Trey Siggers' first career touchdown reception goes for 50 yards, Stinch.
And you see, look, 2 defenders, really, they could work to that side right here, and both are going to end up leaning to the opposite side of the field. Look how wide open Siggers is. It's either Deontay Anderson that has to work that way, the safety's working to the opposite side where there were 3 eligible receivers, and instead you end up with a wide open space to throw into for Siggers and a full head of steam down that sideline.
We got action going on everywhere. Zubin Mehenti, what's happening in South Bend?
Glad you asked. Capital One fan vote. All right, EJ. Tyler Buckner putting it in the air, and the Irish are on the board first.
Yeah, and look, this is about as easy as it gets right there. UNC has to do a better job of extending, trying to make a tackle, but Avery Davis too fast.
Here comes the equalizing score from North Carolina.
Well, Carolina needs Todd Chandler for 6.
We'll see at the half.
We're looking forward to that. So many games to tell us about with what's happening in the Horseshoe, in Jordan-Hare Stadium, in Auburn, and there in South Bend as well. We have a one-score game suddenly here with Houston up 20-14. Toon doesn't like what he sees downfield and takes off. He's past the 30, up to the 31-yard line. He picks up 6 yards on the play. Toon only has 14 rushing yards on the season, but he ran for over 100 yards against South Florida last year. He has some wheels.
Ran for almost 50 versus Rice, probably where he injured that hamstring.
And nowhere to go for Tayson Henry with the Mustangs swarming him in the backfield. Elijah Chapman in the backfield, his 16th career tackle for loss.
Elijah Chapman having himself a night. Did a great job getting upfield right now to force that negative yardage play. And right now you could see Houston very much missing the contributions of Alton McCaskill. A great job by the Mustang defensive front of creating havoc in the offensive backfield.
Toon flushed out again against his body, completes it to the 35-yard line, and that's enough to Keyshawn Carter. The ball looked like it came loose there at the end. Here's a look.
Protection held up pretty good. Toon ends up flushing out of there. I think the pocket looked pretty strong at that point. Regardless, throws on target to Carter.
It certainly came out there, but got it back, and it's enough to move the chains for the Cougars up to the 35.
They're going to take another look at it. They came up right now. And Chase Cromartie
is under further review for a fumble.
Yeah, number 18, Chase Cromartie comes in there. Watch his left hand. Looks like he gets his hand right on this football.
Tough to see from that angle. It certainly came out, but was he down before it came out? And then who ended up with the football? This will give us a better look. It looks like it's coming out.
Definitely
Did
does.
Isaac Slade Mataatia end up with it? There's a skirmish there for it. I think the other question here, Stench, is can they see if there was a clear recovery by Slade Mataatia?
Yeah, if anything, Keyshawn Carter ends up with this football. So if we say it's out, he ended up with the ball ultimately. I don't know how Robertson didn't end up with it. And 13 comes in.
Well, if you keep rolling this, you'll see that eventually Mataatia has it right there, with Henry then grabbing it away from him. But Mataatia still has the ball there on the ground before, Keyshawn Carter takes it away from him.
Mataatia just kind of turned loose there towards the end. The head linesman was standing right over this play. That ball's out. It's just laying on the ground right there, and you're right, Mataatia just ends up recognizing this might be a live football, but he almost just concedes it back to Keyshawn Carter. You see the head linesman standing right over it. He's signaling, no, it's Houston ball. He's actually saying, look, it looks like distance needed for the first, but that's assuming that they maintain possession.
I mean, you look at that right there.
Yeah.
Looks at least momentarily, it looks like that Isaac Slade Mataatia, the transfer from Oregon, had the football. And we'll let you know what Charles Lamartina has to say here in just a second.
It goes without saying, huge swing of events. You go for a fourth down, 50-yard field, touchdown, and now maybe another short field.
After further review, the receiver fumbled the ball, and there was clear video evidence that the SMU recovered the ball. The SMU player recovered the ball. It'll be first down for SMU. at that spot.
Wow, so you've got a 4th down, you go for it. Not only get stuffed, but the ball bounced out. Clayton Tune had to jump on it. And Dana Holgerson can't believe it.
And give credit to Roderick Robertson for causing that fumble to happen before Slade Mataatia ended up, at least briefly, with the football.
You see Dana Holgerson is just beside himself because he's saying, look, my guy handed you the ball at the end of this, but that was only after there was a clear recovery.
So suddenly, SMU has gone from down 17-0 to having the football at the Cougar 35, down 6, and a chance to take the lead, but Siggers gets nailed by Demarion Williams.
Oh, watch this stick from Demarion Williams. That's a form tackle. Put that on a clinic reel somewhere. That's what it looks like.
That guy was going to go to SMU, but changed his mind and decided to transfer to Houston instead, making the Mustangs pay. 2nd and 10. Mordecai, and that's caught. It's Reggie Robertson tackled by Alex Hogan. And he's down inside the 35. Just a pickup of a couple, though. It's a long throw to gain 2 yards.
Yeah, that was a good job at that time, rallying by Hogan. Ends up forcing Robertson back upfield. Conceded probably another 2 or 3 yards after he actually made the catch.
SMU has struggled in the kicking game. This might be 2-down territory to get the 1st down.
3rd down again. We talk about the pressure. There's Anani right here on the edge.
Here comes the blitz. Mordecai wide open inside the 20. Robertson, 1st down Mustangs.
What a strike from Tanner Mordecai. Right over the middle, steps up, feels that pressure running the arc. DeAnthony Jones couldn't get there. And he finds Reggie Robertson right over the middle. Another explosive play.
Umpire William Thomas had to duck on that one, threw it right at him. And Houston's going to call timeout.
Takes their 2nd charge time out of the half.
You need to catch your breath. You think about the quick change on the 4th down stop. You give up a touchdown almost immediately. You come back on offense and you fumble the ball away. These quick changes. You call timeout, see if you can't find a way to regroup after a big play.
This season, along with their contributions to universities' general scholarship funds, for every field goal and extra point made, Allstate will also be donating to the American Red Cross to help with disaster relief efforts. Thank you, Allstate. Cougars raced out to a 17-0 advantage as Clayton Tune found Nathaniel Dell for 2 touchdown strikes. He also had a 52-yard completion to Dell inside the 5, but the Mustang defense limited them to a field goal. And now after the fumble that was caused by the Mustangs, SMU has a chance to take the lead.
The guy we haven't seen get a lot of targets, and he caught 7 balls last week, is this guy right here, Grant Calcaterra.
Back to the wide open tight end Calcaterra, as you called it, but Mordecai threw behind him.
They had him. He's a guy they really like in the red zone. It's just a little half roll, and that time Mordecai just kind of short-armed it. Felt like he hurried that throw just a little bit. Could have planted his feet. Calcaterra was wide open. That is 6 if he puts it on him.
Again, inside the 10. And it's Calcaterra right back to his roommate, and it'll be 3rd and short.
Well, it makes sense, right? Because this is a guy, big body, but he can run good routes. They'll flex him out a lot. He's not always attached at the end of the line of scrimmage like he was on those 2 routes. And here you'll see him flexed to the top of your screen, the inside of those two receivers, back-to-back targets, this time two backs in the backfield.
Siggers following Levine, and he's down to the 6. It's going to be 4th and a yard, and Marcus Jones has played one whale of a first half.
It's not just in coverage and in the return game. How about that run support? Get down here in the red zone, condense part of the field. You got to find a way to get a stop. Houston has only allowed 7 red zone touchdowns coming into this game. They have been superb in this part of the field.
Calcaterra in front of Siggers on 4th and 1, and they need at least a yard to get to the 5-yard line.
No coach interview, sorry, no coach interview.
Garrett Riley wants to talk about it. He recognizes what an opportunity. You sit here, we talked about SMU, they've been down before, they've climbed back into games. This was their largest deficit to overcome. Stop on 4th down, a turnover, and they are right back in this game and banging on the door with a chance to pick up a first or score.
Let's take a look at this week's college football rankings brought to you by PlayStation. We're going to certainly see some movement in the top 25 after the Wolverines lost to the Spartans in East Lansing. Buckeyes trail the Nittany Lions in the first half. Iowa got blown out at Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Big Ten West is just wacky this year. And Ole Miss is down 21-10 on the plains of Auburn. Uh-oh, Matt Stinchcomb. Yeah, those first 2 out.
That's the problem with having to predict that while games are going on.
That's right.
I actually had Michigan as first out earlier.
What do you predict on 4th and 1?
I don't know why. You know, if you had him in earlier, but here comes Henry. Well, no.
Mordecai wide open. Touchdown. Perfect job to get Rashee Rice open, and the Mustangs have tied it up.
Now, I'm thinking if Bentley's in the game, it makes sense to just slam one up in there. And instead, they motioned Rashee Rice into the backfield and got him a head start on that sprint out. Then here's maybe a little empty bucket play on a 2-point conversion. How about that? It only makes sense. This is supposed to be one of the most tightly contested games of the year, and it has proven to be that.
Houston has blocked 3 punts this season, and now they blocked an extra point as well. 20-20 as Manny Nunnery, Gleason Sprewell, and Sean Lewis came in. 20-20 with 2:45 to go here in the first half at TD ECU Stadium. Tied up at 20 after Gleason Sprewell blocked the extra point. Rashee Rice caught the touchdown pass from Tanner Mordecai. 20 apiece with 2:45 left. That's an eternity for these two offenses.
Well, the way they've been playing tonight, that's for sure.
Marcus Jones lets it go over his head. We'll send you back to the studio for another update with Zubin and EJ.
Thank you very much, Taylor. Coming up on the DirecTV Stream halftime report, the country's best defense flexing its muscle. Just ask the Gators. Plus, Michigan State wins. How far did they rise? And you mentioned Ohio State trailing. EJ will tell you why they've struggled so much against the Nittany Lions. We'll see you at the half.
Coming up at halftime with you guys. I was just scrolling on the ESPN app, and Kentucky's also down right now to Mississippi State in Starkville in the first half. So you can see a lot of volatility in the top 25 when the rankings come out on Tuesday night. Cougs would like to get into the top 25. That could happen with a win tonight. And it's Henry who doesn't get much on first down. Elijah Chapman with the tackle. Alyssa Toon to Dell. We've seen a lot of that in the first half.
Yeah, it's been noticeable, their chemistry, certainly this season, and I've been watching Clayton Toon all night tonight. Every time he's on the sidelines, him and Tank Dell are basically joined at the hip, sitting on the bench, doing handshakes, making sure that they are step for step with each other, and it's obvious the way they've played on the field tonight.
It certainly has, as Dell has gone off with 121 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. Toon steps into the football, and it's a strike past the 35, and down near the 44 goes Dell. And on cue, the two connect again.
Chemistry's right, there's no doubt. We've seen Dell get behind the coverage several times on deep shots. This time, though, does a great job. Going to come out of that break. We're talking to Marcus Jones, one of the better DBs in college football for the Cougars. Sees him every day in practice. Says he's just kind of an unorthodox route runner. As you see on the back end of that play, came out of the game.
Already a career high, 139 yards receiving, but out of the game, and Toon takes off and dives past midfield into SMU territory.
We've seen that repeatedly tonight from Clayton Toon. This time he just saw an opportunity. You see that wide open rush lane. Wasn't necessarily due to the pressure. Did a good job of finding an opening.
Cougs just with 1 timeout left, and Henry isn't going to get the first down as Slade Mataatia just got the fumble. Was there in the backfield, forcing a 3rd down. Clock moving inside a minute left in the first half.
That time just a poor cut by Henry. Had an opportunity, ran right into the back of the offensive front.
Inside 45 seconds left. Toon drifting back, and it's complete for a first down to the 41-yard line. It's Carter again.
He wanted Singletons. You see him up quickly to clock this football. They've got 1 timeout to work with.
And that's what happens with 34 seconds left. Looks like there were too many men on the field for the Mustangs.
And there are flags.
Sonny Dykes thinks that his 12th guy had gotten off.
Illegal substitution. 12 men on the defense. 5-yard penalty. It's first down. Game clock will start on the snap.
So that gives the Houston the ball at the 36-yard line. They'll get up there quickly as the clock will start running. Now Toon lobs one down there for Carter, and just out of his hands. Normani Johnson running with him, 2nd down.
And he had Carter. He's got a step right there and just overthrew him by not even a yard, really. You see that space. Carter is going to want that one back. Come up with that catch. That was a well-thrown football by Toon. I thought it was overthrown more. That second look made it very clear that was a catchable ball.
Certainly like to get more yards, but remember Witherspoon already connected from 51 earlier. Toon dumps it off underneath, and it's Singleton running after the catch, and they're certainly in Witherspoon territory now to the 24-yard line.
Again.
We'll do it with 19 seconds left and preserve that timeout.
Well, the beauty of that illegal substitution was you didn't burn a down. You came up there and you went to clock it. Instead, the clock stops. You pick up 5 yards, but you also get that down back, which is what effectively they had on that first down all over again. Ran up, spiked it, didn't count. Illegal substitution. They get up here, you burn that first down because you're playing against the clock, not the downs.
Wide open inside the 15 and out of bounds goes Jake Herslow.
Well, SMU brought the house on that one. 6. And Chase Cromartie ended up getting a pressure there. Had 6 potential in protection. And Cromartie was able to get there, but not before Toon could get the ball downfield.
Herslow's already caught more passes this year, and he caught in his entire career at Old Dominion. It's the 10th play of the drive for the Cougs, trying to take the lead back. Toon stays behind the line of scrimmage. Incomplete. Just above Dell's reach. Second down with 8 seconds left. And now they do have a timeout left.
Yeah.
So you would think that Dana Holgerson would try one more play here before bringing on the kicking team.
You can see in the back of the end zone, if Toon hadn't flushed to his right, which you know he's going to as a right-handed passer, but had an opportunity maybe in the back of the end zone, Herslow calling for the football. The problem was that scramble ate up a lot of time. You still had that timeout in your pocket.
Can use the whole field, but you got to be smart about it.
Yes. There's a timeout taken by SMU.
SMU takes their second timeout.
Well, when you think about it, 8 seconds to go. You run a play, call timeout, and then it's decision time, depending on where you complete this football.
Yeah, that's SMU's last timeout of the half, so they're done. Houston still has that one. This is exactly what everyone expected, right? A tight football game that has been competitive. It's had its twists and turns in the first half. Certainly you'd expect more of that in the second half. SMU did win the last 2 in the series. See Witherspoon warming up. Cougars have won 6 straight after losing to the Red Raiders of Texas Tech to start the season. And SMU coming in with a perfect 7-0 record.
SMU with the chance for this field goal attempt. We'll see if the Cougs try to either center up this football with this play call.
Toon to the back of the end zone, and that's a flag. There was some pushing and shoving from Jahari Rogers, but was that a catchable football? And that's what these officials are going to talk about. Tazon Henry, the intended target, and
that ball was well out of bounds. When it first came out, I don't know if we're going to have enough football field for this throw.
There is no foul for defensive pass interference. The ball was uncatchable.
Yeah. That's a good job by the officials. The flag comes out. Yeah, is it pass interference? Yes, but only if that ball was catchable. And you could see they immediately convened, made sure they were all on the same page. That was well operated. Incomplete pass now, and of course, setting up that field goal attempt.
30-yard field goal attempt by Dalton Witherspoon to give the Cougars the lead at the break. And he does just that. Wouldn't be surprised if we have another kick like that later in the game to decide it. SMU will get the football to start the second half. Cougars lead number 19 SMU 23-20. Here's Zubin Mehenti and E.J. Manuel as we send you to halftime.
Welcome to the DirecTV Stream Halftime Report.
And we will begin with the game, everybody.
This is ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Sonos. From TD ECU Stadium in Houston, Texas, the Cougars lead the Mustangs 23-20 as we start the third quarter. Sonny Dykes is Mustangs undefeated on the season, ranked 19th in the country. They will get the football first in the second half. With Matt Stinchcomb, I'm Taylor Zarzer. Alyssa Lang is on the field. Clayton Toon found Nathaniel Dell for 2 touchdown passes to start the scoring. Mustangs came fighting back to tie the game at 20 before Dalton Witherspoon made a 30-yard field goal as time expired in the first half. Fun first half on a beautiful night in H-Town. And coming out is Brian Massey, 5 yards deep in his end zone. And it's a good decision. He's got the kicker to beat. Cuts it back. 105 yards for Brian Massey.
Massey, with kickoff return for the SMU Mustangs.
They don't count the extra yardage in the end zone, Stinch. They should. He was 5 yards deep.
Hey, man, if you got to run the 5 yards, it should count. The field's only 100 yards. Give him his extra 5. Seemed like a really bold decision. Boy, did that pay off. We talked about special teams and the role that it could play in this game, thinking it would be the concern for the Houston return game. And instead, SMU kicking down the door here in the second half with a 105-yard kickoff return for a touchdown.
Mazza makes this extra point after having the last one blocked, and SMU has their first lead of the game. He had a 95-yard return against Navy to the house. This one officially is 100.
Nice blocking out in front. Levine had a block, and then an escort was just enough to get Massey back inside. Kicker's trying to turn him back in. It wasn't near enough. Well, Brian Massey, you think about it, he denied what was a sure touchdown on the flea flicker there in the first half. And now he's showing up in special teams. Well, Marcus Jones, one of the best return men for Houston, also plays in the secondary. But tonight, it's been a fellow defensive back in Brian Massey who gets up on the board in the return game. Man, the haymakers that these two are throwing at each other tonight.
Incredible. As expected, we thought that every phase of the game would have an impact, and it certainly has. Massey comes in as an extra defensive back, makes a big difference in special teams. Now, can Marcus Jones answer? He is tackled outside the 25-yard line. Some fireworks on the field, Alyssa Lang.
Yeah, guys, I caught up with Houston head coach Dana Holgerson coming out of half, and I asked him what was the emphasis for you at halftime. He said defensively, we're not playing like SAC-AV. We call ourselves SAC-AV, but we have to affect the quarterback. We haven't made Tanner Mordecai uncomfortable enough. I said, what'd you say to Clayton Tune? He said, well, not much. We're winning, which now they obviously have to do some work to get back in the winning side.
I'm jealous. Did Alyssa win the Masters? I mean, that green jacket.
She's got that green jacket.
She's got going tonight. Hey, shout out to SMU All-American Colt Knost, who was an incredible college player here. He's in Dubai watching the game on the ESPN app. We appreciate that. Here's Tunes stepping up. And he's ahead to the 29-yard line. He hasn't thrown for 300 yards in a game this year, Stench, and he had 295 in the first half with 2 touchdowns, finding 6 different receivers. Looked great.
And we talked about this coming in. His best game statistically was against SMU a couple of years ago. Missed it last year because of the COVID-shortened season. They were looking to load up right there on first down off play action.
2nd and 9. This is Henry. And it's a first down run past the 40-yard line.
How about that run from Henry? We talk about the loss of McCaskill, and Henry, more slight of build, not as big, but you can see jitterbugging through there, especially on that delayed draw. Picks up the easy first down. Both these offenses, they talked about getting the running game going. We didn't see it in the first half, and a lot of the carries were from Clayton Tune on scrambles, not designed QB runs.
I'm sure Bryson DeChambeau is like, really? Colt gets a shout out? Bryson doesn't. By the way, we're in the Jim Nantz broadcast booth here in Houston, Texas tonight. Lots of golfers from both of these schools. Henry past midfield down to the 49-yard line. He gets into SMU territory. It's a pickup of 9.
God, great block by number 72, Tank Jenkins. Watch this finish. That is what we call a numbers block. You put him on his numbers, dump him onto his back, put Turner Cox on his numbers, allowed to get into the line of scrimmage cleanly. And the Cougs now looking to establish that ground game.
Certainly have done that throughout this drive, and Henry moves the chains down to the 47-yard line. Alton McCaskill, the true freshman tailback, was banged up in the first half, and it's been more Henry than McCaskill, as he's now carried the ball 12 times.
It's largely been him carrying the load. Coming into this half, they hadn't done a lot on the ground game. All rushes so far in the second half for the Cougs.
All day. Stepping into the throw, and it's a strike to Herslow inside the 35 for 15 more.
Only rushing 3. Toon does a good job being patient in the pocket. You see me had to press up just a little bit, started to leak there right in his face, but really more than anything, just positioning that throw. Wanted to get it to Herslow all the way.
Henry changes course, and it's the right call. Down to the 27-yard line for 5 more. He had 11 touchdowns in 2 years at Texas Tech. Caught 44 passes there for the Red Raiders. But now has become the featured back as he comes back home, a product of Lamar High School, just 6 miles from the stadium. Toon, nice catch. Hadn't heard much from Dell in the last couple of drives. He makes the grab there after a terrific first half. In fact, he set a career high for receiving yards in an entire game in only 2 quarters.
Pretty efficient, you say the least. And it was the size of these plays, the distance covered, something that they were kind of lamenting offensively. Nathaniel Tank Dell said, you know what, let's fix that here in the first half. Let's get some bombs going, ripping up the Mustang secondary, and now on a big conversion.
An 8-yard gain, and this is a first down run inside the 20 down to the 17. Jimmy Phillips tackles Henry, and the Cougs are back in the red zone.
I don't like this so much, not just because it's working, but this game was getting a little punchy. You know, there's just one big play after another. You open up the second half with a kickoff return for a touchdown. This is not only a methodical drive, but it also gives you a chance to get your feet underneath you here in the second half if you're Houston.
Especially after taking that punch from Massey on the kick return. Cougars have scored every time they've had it in the red zone. They're in there again. Toon to the end zone, and it's just too tall for Jalen Irwin.
Maybe a little greedy on that one. That ball's lower. Maybe he's got a chance for it. He had Dell in the flats. Nearest defender was probably 15 yards downfield. Could have checked it. Didn't. Kept his eyes downfield, but that ball got away from him high. Gave his receiver a chance. You know, you're aiming for that crossbar. Almost comes up with a touchdown reception. As it is, second down and 10 to convert.
Seen a lot of Henry on this drive. He doesn't see much there. As Mustangs converge on him, it'll be third down. DeVere Levelston, the junior from DeSoto, Texas, helped make the tackle.
The first half, Houston had 3 red zone possessions, only 1 touchdown. They scored all 3. There's 2 other field goals. They got to be more efficient in this part of the field. That first down shot did not help to set up the 3rd and 10.
DeSoto, end zone, got Dell again, his 3rd of the night. This guy is a touchdown machine for the Houston Cougars. And now Dalton Witherspoon to give the Cougars a 3-point lead. 159 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns for Nathaniel Tank Dell. He's played in 16 games for the Houston Cougars. He has 10, or as they say in Texas, 10 touchdown catches. Cougars back on top. The city of Houston is just so nervous right now. Their Cougars lead the Mustangs by 3. Their Astros lead the Braves 1-0 in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Paying attention to both of those games at the moment. Nathaniel Dell having a career night with those 3 touchdown grabs. All right, and the Mustangs will get it at the 25. Stench, how about all day for Clayton Tune to throw that touchdown pass?
Yeah, we talked about it coming in the game. You know, can SMU hold up in protection? But what about Houston? That's been a difficulty this year. Look at the time that he has. Look at the space that he has. There's not a pass rusher within 4 or 5 yards of Clayton Tune. And what does that allow? You got Kashawn Carter and Dell to the same side. See Carter pull the inside defender safety across the formation, and you knew that opens things up for Dell outside to run right at the post for a touchdown.
We haven't seen Tanner Mordecai in a while. Ulysses Bentley doesn't get much as Demarion Williams runs with him to the sideline. He gets a yard. Houston had the ball the last couple of minutes of the first half. SMU takes a 100-yard kick return to the house from Brian Massey to start the second half. So it's been a heck of a break, maybe around 30, 45 minutes in real time since Mordecai and this Mustangs offense has been on the field. 2nd and 9 across the middle, completion to Rice, and plenty of running room into Cougar territory.
Well, he's been resting up. He took a shot on this play. Had to field a low snap once again, and Alex Hogan grills Tanner Mordecai. Knew he was going to get hit on that throw, threw it right on time, stood in there, did not flinch.
24-yard completion to the junior from North Richland Hills. And now the handoff to Siggers, and he gets the edge, and he's down at the 41. Marcus Jones goes to the feet to make the tackle.
Both offenses getting the ground game going a little bit. Obviously, this drive jump-started by that completion to Rice. Quick handoff, positive yards, big gainer on first down. It's 2nd and playbook. If you want to take a shot right here, 2nd and manageable in plus territory.
Mordecai steps up. He does take the shot, and he overthrows Calcaterra, who was covered up.
I don't know that Calcaterra was looking for this ball. They definitely were looking to take a shot. They run play action. So you pull a guard, your left guard pulls over, give that heavy run sell, and Mordecai kind of drifted to his left, but he was trying to come back to Calcaterra. He was not looking for that football.
They run it on 3rd and 3, and Siggers runs hard right at the Cougar defense to move the chains.
A great effort by Siggers right there. 3rd and 3. Probably thinking a pass right here. Good job by the offensive front, giving him just enough of a crease to get downhill and behind his pads.
We've been talking about transfer tailback. Siggers used to play for the Mean Green of North Texas. He led them in rushing 2 years ago, going over 800 yards. He comes out, and that's Tyler Levine standing to Mordecai's right. Mordecai off the back foot. It's caught inside the 5 by Danny Gray.
Danny Gray comes down with it.
37-yard completion on the one-on-one ball.
And was working one-on-one with Marcus Jones. And Danny Gray did a great job of working back to this football. Jones was step for step with Gray. Gray's got about 4 inches on Marcus Jones. They were hand fighting a little bit towards the bottom of that route, and was just enough separation for Gray to work back to that football.
On the doorstep at the 2, Mordecai to Levine. Levine gets met by Donovan Mutin in the hole. Didn't get much.
That's a form tackle. That's another form tackle by a defender in this game. Watch Mutin front up Levine. Man, that's another one. Man, get a still photo of that one, frame it, hang it on a wall somewhere. That was a masterpiece.
Junior from Spring, Texas, that forced the fumble against East Carolina last week that ended the game. Siggers and Levine, both back there. And Siggers behind Levine, gets tripped up and dives. Touchdown. How about that effort from the senior from Duncanville?
So Levine gets stood up a little bit on his carry. Goes back to his old duty of blocking. Does a pretty good job, and see if if Siggers rather, gets that ball across. I think he does. It looked like he did before that knee would have touched the turf.
I'm sure they're going to take a long look to make sure, but you're exactly right. I mean, Houston's in position to stop the play in just a great athletic effort from Siggers to give SMU the lead back. Naz has had one blocked. This one's right through there, and the Mustangs lead is 4. Halloween is tomorrow, and everybody will be out trick-or-treating. Boy, isn't this a treat tonight. Get all the candy out already tonight and settle in for SMU and Houston. This one could go to the wire. Get settled, something new happens in this game. SMU leads Houston 34-30. Kind of like after a trick-or-treater comes in, you get settled and then the doorbell rings again. These are my favorite. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. You're an M&M's guy?
How could you not be?
No, I do.
Who doesn't like M&M's?
Alyssa,
Who doesn't like the peanut butter cups?
Alyssa, you're kind of a Sour Patch lady, right?
Yeah, I like the Sour Patch Kids. You know, first they're sour, then they're sweet. But guys, we're in Texas. Forget about Sour Patch Kids. I got Shipley's. I got a Shipley's donut. Best of the best.
Trick or treat. Here's a donut.
Yeah, I don't know how you put that in the bag, but the Shipley's donuts are phenomenal.
I would be thrilled if I knocked on a door and was handed a donut.
Houston will get it at the 25. Zubin and EJ, I bet they're big Halloween guys. Let's go back to the studio. No, we'll go back to them in just a minute. We'll just keep eating candy here.
They're probably knocking on doors right now. God, like, hey, man, bag's half empty.
I know that Halloween is a big deal in the Stinchcomb house tomorrow night.
Yeah, we're not messing around. We've got the whole neighborhood, really. They come off the top ropes when it comes to trick-or-treating. We tried to get Coach Holgerson to tell us, hey, man, what's your favorite candy? He was like, I'm not having it. Not interested in playing that game. Saw what Coach Leach said last week. And
yeah, the game we did last week with Mississippi State and Vanderbilt went viral as Alyssa was asking Coach Leach why he hates candy corn so much, which he was very ready to talk about. He's Mulbacar doesn't get much. He was very big on Almond Joys and lots of other candy. Holgerson and Sonny Dykes much more interested in talking football after working for him for a number of years. And I asked Dana, I said, what was your job when you were on the headset at Texas Tech with Leach? And he said, to tell him that punting was an option. That we could actually punt on 4th down. Stop talking about where you want to go eat Mexican food. We might have to punt here. Houston might have to punt on this next play after Elijah Chapman is in the backfield again. It's 3rd and long.
how about the night that Elijah Chapman's having? Once again, another tackle for loss. Opened the game in the offensive backfield of the Houston Cougar offense, and he has spent a ton of time either tackling at or behind the line of scrimmage. I don't know that he's been blocked cleanly yet.
SMU was down 17-0 at one point in this game, now up 4 and trying to get off the field. Toon keeps drifting back, has all day to throw. And just short of the marker at the 34 is Jeremy Singleton. It is going to be 4th down. So we know what Mike Leach would have done in this situation in Lubbock. What does Dana Holgerson decide to do on 4th and a foot?
He never looked up from his call sheet. He checked it, saw that it was going to be 4th down, never looked up from his call sheet a time. Now he just checked in an extra tight end, Seth Green, number 17, now in for the Cougs. So this is a heavy formation. You see that overload to the right with the 2 tight ends.
Got to get to the 35, and Carr's, just his momentum carried him past as Jimmy Phillips makes the tackle. But after Hogo was busting Mike Leach's chops for not punting in his own territory, he does it, and it pays off.
It didn't pay off in the first half. Cost them a touchdown going the other way on an ensuing play. He went with the heavy personnel, and a great effort that time by Carr just to get the first.
And Toon somehow gets out of there and dives ahead to the 37-yard line.
You know, that time in the scramble drill, it looked like Dell was thinking he was wanting to go back deep, but he was scrambling forward. That's why he kind of bought a little bit of time, scrambled towards the sideline, and then realized best that he just tried to turn something out of nothing. That time SMU only rushed 4 and 7 back in coverage. Didn't really like what he had at the top of his drop.
Toon against his body. Look at that throw. It's Herslow running free inside the 30-yard line.
What a play by Clayton Toon. That time the Mustangs brought 5. The protection held up long enough, but didn't have anything initially rolling to his left. Herslow was breaking back to his right, and a well-placed ball. Athletic play by Clayton Toon.
37 yards. Toon said he loves Aaron Rodgers. That was an Aaron Rodgers type play. Toon underneath throw this time, and it's Irwin with his first catch down near the 21-yard line. Hey, on Tuesday, we're going to have the exclusive reveal of the college football playoff top 25 rankings. Reese and the guys will break them down from top to bottom. They'll have coaches' reactions as well as a live interview with committee chairman Gary Barta, the University of Iowa AD. That's at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN and the ESPN app. One app, one tap. 8 undefeated teams still in college football, including the one playing defense clinging to the 4-point lead. Second down for Houston at the 21. Toon with a flag down to the end zone. Incomplete. Broken up by Bryce McMorris, and there's another flag in the end zone.
Yeah, I think they're going to get a holding call against Houston and a defensive pass interference versus SMU.
There are fouls by both teams on the play. Holding, offense number 65. Pass interference, defense number 7. Those penalties will offset. Replay, second down.
All right, so number 75 is Jack Freeman. He's at right guard. They called him for holding. Looked like he just trapped the defensive lineman to me. We've seen that called this year. Maybe you get a guy to the ground a couple of times.
And now timeout called by the Mustangs. We'll take a break with them. 1:13 to go in the third quarter. A one-possession game in H-Town.
Great guest list for the Mannings tonight.
You've reached Peyton and Eli. Leave a message.
This is Liam Neeson. I have a very particular set of skills, none of which involves watching game film. Watch Peyton and Eli. You never know who will drop by.
On the same channel, coming up on Monday night, Peyton and Eli. I love Tom Brady saying, I love playing against Peyton. Not so much you, Eli.
Yeah. Eli jumped on that one too, didn't he?
Oh, yeah.
I liked every one of mine.
That's been so fun to watch. On Monday nights, this has been a blast on ESPN2 on Saturday night. And it's Henry getting inside the red zone down to the 19-yard line where it's going to be 3rd and short. See what Jim Leavitt, the legendary defensive coordinator for SMU, dials up here. A 64-year-old former head coach at South Florida. Of course, he was Bill Snyder's defensive coordinator forever at K-State. Went to the 49ers for Jim Harbaugh, Colorado and Oregon. 3rd and 2 for Clayton Tune and the Cougars. Plenty of time to throw a strike down near the 10-yard line to the big tight end, Christian Trahan.
Trahan with the catch.
Trahan's got great hands, doesn't he? The coaches talked about this. He kind of juggles this one a little bit. You see it there for a second. Tune trusts Trahan. Lined up outside receiver. This time he's lined up the bottom of your screen, right at the top of that 0, the 10.
It is 1st and goal as we approach the end of the 3rd quarter. Tune drifts straight back and throws, and it's at the last second. A hand gets in there for Kiki or make that Chase Cromartie. It's 2nd and goal.
Nice play by Chase Cromartie. Well, he times this well, doesn't he? Comes in with that right arm and just hatchets the ball out right as it arrived. Didn't get there too early, no flag needed. That was a very well played pass defense by Chase Cromartie.
When you said it, they were going towards Trahan. We'll see if they look his way again on a 2nd and goal, and what certainly should be the last play of the 3rd quarter. The other side of the field to Bell. Look at all that athletic ability as he dances around, and he's down to the 4. Now Tank Dell and the rest of his teammates have to walk all the way down to the other side. At the end of the 3rd quarter, SMU is undefeated. They lead 6-1, Houston 34-30. Do not go anywhere. American Conference on ESPN. We go to the 4th quarter. SMU has a 34-30 lead, but the Cougars are on the doorstep on a 3rd and goal from the Mustang 4. With Matt Stinchcomb and Alyssa Lang, I'm Taylor Zarzer here at TD ECU Stadium. Cougars have won 6 in a row on the season, trying to hand SMU their first loss. Clayton Tune's been terrific. He throws into coverage, and it's incomplete. He was looking for Trahan, but here come the flags.
And they thought about it for a second, didn't they? Both those flags, there was a beat or two before they came out.
Defense number 16. Ball will be placed at the 2-yard line. Automatic, 1st down.
That's Trevor Denbo.
It's that left arm that I think got him. And you see Trahan getting up there. He's asking for it from the back judge. Side judge got in there too. 2 flags came out. Fresh set of downs.
The back judge, let me get this out of my pocket.
That's right.
Now Carr, he doesn't get much, and he goes back to the 3. It's a loss of 1. The 2nd and goal. Gary Wiley on the tackle for the Mustangs. This is going to be the 13th play of the drive for the Cougars. SMU took the second half kickoff 100 yards for a touchdown. That was Brian Massey. Houston answered with a touchdown, then SMU did. And now another long drive that's kept this Mustang defense on the field.
And Clayton Tune has been clutch on 3rd downs. Before that last attempt was 9 of 10 on 3rd down throws.
Henry, fake to him, Tune keeps it, and he dives ahead to the 4. He's going to lose a yard. Turner Cox on the tackle, 3rd and goal from the exact same spot. The Cougars just had a 3rd down.
That was a great job by Turner Cox. Didn't bite hard down inside on that fake handoff downhill. and he forced Toon to pull up short. He was looking to roll out further. He had levels, options, had 2 receivers to the right side.
Toon. End zone, got it back there. Touchdown to Carter. A 14-play drive culminates with Toon squeezing one into Carter in the back of the end zone.
Yeah, 4th down conversion rewarded. A long drive and a needed answer from the Cougar offense.
And Witherspoon, makes it a 3-point lead for Texas Tech. Back to back to back double-digit scoring drives for Texas Tech. Barely getting that one into Carter.
Chase Cromartie, I thought, that ball came out and it almost floated to the back of the end zone. There's not a ton of zip on that ball, and I thought Cromartie was going to be able to rally back to that throw. He didn't. And the Cougars able to get back on top in this game. This is just, it's like the World Series. They're just trading wins, trading scores, going back and forth in this contest.
Look at the time of possession in this game, too. I mean, SMU has been on the field on defense for so long tonight, in large part because Houston has 9 3rd-down conversions.
And they played on a short field, right? You got a kickoff return for a score, and not a lot of time eaten up there. And then you played several times for SMU where you get the ball on the 50 or near. Doesn't take a lot of time, especially the way these offenses are playing tonight. Only 11 first downs for an SMU offense that piles up first downs. They typically average 27 a game.
Massey's coming out again after he took the last one to the house. And this time, he's finally brought down at the 24-yard line. Taco Bell welcomes you to Live Ma Student Section of the Year contest. Use hashtag Student Section Sauce to get the committee's attention, and go to ESPN.com/Taco Bell to see how your school can compete. These Cougar fans have been loud tonight, trying to pay a little attention to their phone while they're watching the game.
Yeah.
Much to the chagrin of Atlanta's Matt Stinchcomb. Jose Altuve just hit a home run a few minutes ago, and the Astros lead 2-0. Mordecai to Siggers, and look at this wide open space. He's up to the 39-yard line as Alex Hogan makes the tackle of 14 yards for Siggers on first down.
Some of Mordecai's best plays tonight have been fielding the snap. The snap's been all over the place. Did a great job of fielding that one. Siggers did a great job of bending that run back to the left side of the formation. Good job by the left side of that SMU offensive front.
Out of the backfield, Mordecai finds Siggers, but Jace Rogers on the tackle. So much back and forth in this game tonight, Alyssa, with Tanner Mordecai quarterback.
Yeah, easy to let your emotions get ahead of you, right? But one thing that Garrett Riley and Sonny Dykes told us in our meetings yesterday, that when it comes to Tanner Mordecai, he's so steady. He never lets the moment get ahead of him. Sonny Dykes said he plays every single game like it's Groundhog Day. That's what you want from your quarterback in a shootout, right?
Groundhog Day, I like it. This, as long as Groundhog Day means he's picking up yards, right? And it certainly has this year. You see a flag coming in late. That flag went about 15 yards, about 15 air yards on that flag.
Everybody's throwing it all over TD ECU Stadium tonight. Crazy to think that this guy did not start a game for 4 years, from his senior year of high school in Waco, Texas, to being the backup at Oklahoma for 3 different quarterbacks.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense number 11. 15-yard penalty, second down.
Let's see what Rashee Rice, the wide receiver, did here.
Jace Rogers and he were kind of jawing at each other. I mean, I don't know, had the whistle blown? I mean, unless the whistle had blown, and it looked like there was still action going on. Hard to tell based on the replay.
That was a heck of a dive that Rogers took there, and a heck of a penalty too, because it's 2nd and 23 for Mordecai back at the 25-yard line. More flags are on the field, and Mordecai's down too. I think they grabbed his face mask as Derek Parrish was getting him to the ground.
The flag came out early before they got to Mordecai. One of them anyway. I think there's 3 on the ground now.
Had a great conversation before the game with Charles Lamartina, who didn't want to use his microphone so much tonight, but
there are fouls by both teams during the play. Illegal formation. Offense, 5 men in the backfield. Personal foul, face mask, defense number 0. Those penalties will offset. Replay, 2nd down.
So they got Derek Parrish for the face mask. In a legal formation, I wonder if it was left tackle was just a little too deep. Let's see at the end of this play. Oh yeah. Yeah, snapped his head back even. Got a rubber band effect. You see over there, Sonny Dykes working the officials. His offense in a deep hole. This is dangerous right here. You want to play it smart versus a pressure D.
2nd and 23, trying to get some of it back and then get it up to the 31-yard line to Grant Calcaterra. Let's go quickly to Zubin in the studio.
Taylor, thank you. And quickly, EJ, Penn State's gotten back in this one. Jahan Dotson.
I tell you what, the Nittany Lions getting creative. Jahan Dotson in for 6.
We're tied at 17. It's on your local ABC station. Coming up after they're done in Houston, Bronco Mendenhall, for of course so many years was BYU's head coach, now with Virginia. That's after you guys are done. Taylor.
3rd and 17 here, and caught inside the 50 by Danny Gray. You see the Mustang bench going nuts. There's more laundry on the field.
Offside. Defense number 44. That penalty is declined. Result of the play, 1st down.
So it turned into a free play stench, and they made them pay.
Boy, talk about digging your way out of a hole. Unbelievable. Tanner Mordecai, they get the offsetting penalties, and he just back shoulders throws. Alex Hogan was in phase. What great chemistry with Danny Gray.
Mordecai wants to throw the deep ball. Coming back to the football is Gray, but he can't make the catch as Jones was down there with him. 2nd down.
That's the 2nd time where they've gone after Marcus Jones one-on-one. And Danny Gray did a great job of fighting back across Jones to get back to this football. Jones had not located the ball in the air. He didn't have a chance to make a play on it, and Gray almost adjusts his route to make another big catch.
Handoff goes to the fake to Levine, and Mordecai is out of bounds. Might have lost a yard on the play. Marcus Jones, he plays cornerback, but he lines up almost as if he's a linebacker in many situations, has been all over the field tonight.
They move him all over. As you see, defensive coordinator Doug Belk sending in a new platoon. Now some pass rushers in the lineup. Logan Hall, number 92 on the inside. David Ananai on the edge. Number 12.
Drifting back, and it's picked off by Jones. He is everywhere tonight.
This is a poor decision by Tanner Mordecai. There are at least 4 Cougar defenders all around Rashee Rice. And Marcus Jones gets underneath this throw. You can see this opportunity abound. Jace Rogers, Marcus Jones. Jones was underneath that route. You had to think it was just a matter of time. You mentioned he's shown up in run support a couple of different times. He gave up a big catch down the sideline earlier in the third quarter, was challenged just to throw a go, and then comes up with a turnover.
Known for what he does in special teams with 8 career touchdowns, kicking and returning punts. There's a touchdown on offense this year. That's his first interception of the season. Henry up to the 42.
You know, on first down, if SMU is a play with just 5 in the box, Houston's going to say, look, we'll just run it. I think they've established it well enough here in the second half. That first drive in the third quarter, I think, has given them some of the confidence. Jim Leavitt, he's got some really good play out of his front line, especially number 40, Elijah Chapman. But it's a numbers game. If you got 5 in that box, there are 5 potential blockers in a one-back formation, just like this one. Now they got 4 along the line of scrimmage, still 5 defenders.
Nice little bubble, and it's caught, and it's a first down into SMU territory to Jeremy Singleton. Singleton, a junior from New Orleans, has had a big night, and so has Clayton Tune. That's a career high 410 yards passing tonight with 4 touchdowns. Remember, he hadn't thrown for over 300 yards in a game this season until tonight. Again, on his back foot, he gets a couple to Trahan. Cougar fans wanted a flag out of bounds, but Delano Robinson didn't do enough to draw one. It's second down and 8. Cougars have been on the field most of the night on offense for over 31 minutes.
They really have. I mean, dominated the time of possession, possessed the football. Part of it's they've had longer fields to drive on. Of course, this an added possession on the turnover.
Not much doing there for Henry. Is Isaac Slade Matatia, who had the big fumble recovery in the first half, makes the tackle there.
Well timed. You see right there at left guard, Cameron Johnson, he's got to come off of that down lineman quicker. Get your hat across, and instead, that's the 9th tackle for loss for SMU's defense tonight. They've done an excellent job of getting behind the line of scrimmage.
Cougars need to get to the SMU 39. Tune drops back, and it's deflected.
What a play.
And it's Matatia again.
Well, oftentimes you see running backs hurdling defenders. How about defenders hurdling running backs? Watch Matatia on this blitz. He's picked up, except he didn't.
Oh my goodness.
Look at that.
I mean, that is...
And then he gets the deflection. What a play.
Jim Leavitt was saying he's our best athlete on defense, the transfer from Oregon, who had a great career there for Mario Cristobal.
He times up that rundown blitz, right? Hits the line of scrimmage right now, and then that play.
I was wondering if Lane Wilkins was here tonight, the freshman punter from Australia, the punting for the Cougars. This is first one of the night, and it's a fair catch at the 4.
Wow.
By Jaylene Record. So SMU pinned very deep, and they trail in the game 37-34 in the fourth quarter.
ESPN College Football Primetime is presented by Sonos. Experience game-changing sound made easy.
What a game this has been as we're midway through the fourth. Jaylene Record fields his first punt of the night and calls for a fair catch at his own 4-yard line. Tanner Mordecai in the end zone hands it off, and Siggers gets out to the 5. And there's Record. You can tell he's upset with himself. He knows, Stinch.
That's not going to fix anything, though, standing by yourself. Get down there with your teammates. You're still in this game. It was a mistake, sure. So here you are, and you're coming out offense for the Mustangs. That time they had 2 in the backfield with Mordecai and Siggers. Now they blow out the formation.
Mordecai pumps. And he'll get past the 10 and stay in bounds. Very close to a first down.
Another heck of a play by Tanner Mordecai.
It is a first.
He was trying to get working back to the left. Watch him. He goes all the way through his progression. Then he pulls that ball down because he does such a great job. Look at this coverage. Where do you want to go with this football? By then, he had already pulled it down. Did a great job of tight roping down the sideline.
Sure did. Now he throws it to Rice. And Rice can't make much happen as he gets up to the 16. Donovan Mutant on the tackle.
You know, coming into this game, Taylor, I thought we were going to see a lot of the horizontal passing game to get Houston moving, have that defensive line running. We haven't seen much of that at all. It's been mostly vertical. They've run play action on early downs, and they've taken shots downfield, and that's been the story largely offensively.
One of the best offenses in America, averaging over 525 yards a game. Just have 308 tonight.
And yet only down 3.
Mordecai, incomplete.
The flag came in late.
Javarius Owens was on Roderick Daniels. This flag is in the backfield.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense number 92. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
And this is Logan Hall called for the late shot on Mordecai.
I don't know. I don't know what you're supposed to do if you're a defender right there. You know, the guy's fighting off a blocker too. It wasn't a violent shot. That'd have been okay if the flag stayed in the pocket for sure on that one.
That is a big call that sends the ball out to SMU's own 32. And the safety valve here is Bentley. And Bentley is to the 35-yard line. He picks up 3. You know, Stinch, I know that officials that are watching this game and the people that oversee the officials in college football would say you're supposed to let up. You're supposed to unlock in that position, disengage, if you will.
Yeah, I got to say, you're fighting off a blocker right there. It's almost like getting blocked into the punter in some regards. That one was not a free run at the quarterback.
2nd and 7, and Mordecai again on the screen. And just a couple more for Gray, who gets up to the 37.
Oh, nice.
It'll be third down. Jace Rogers, yep.
Good job there in the open field. Sorry there, Taylor. He got up so quickly. Got right around the ankles of Gray, who does a great job of breaking that first would-be tackle with the ball in his hands. You see Gray in motion, kind of unlocks or undresses that coverage. Nobody traveled with him, so likely zone here.
Mordecai in trouble and goes down at the 31-yard line. Jamichael Neal.
There's so many different guys that can get pressure, and they can get there with just their down line. That time, Michael Neal was the beneficiary of the edge pressure. And you see,
they're staying on the field. On a 4th and 11, there's 4:10 left in the game. And the Cougars are going to call timeout. We'll take a break with them. The Cougars trying to hand SMU their first loss of the 2021 season. This is ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Sonos. Houston 37, SMU 34. You see what SMU is on 4th down tonight. It is 4th and 11. SMU has it at their own 31-yard line. Sonny Dykes did send the quarterback out on the field, Tanner Mordecai, at first. But now, here comes the punter and Brendan Hall with 4:06 to go in the game, Stench, and 2 timeouts. That's a little too dicey.
Yeah, you know, a little bit of game of chicken right there, right? So you get Houston to burn a timeout by leaving your offense out there. You're probably going to put your punt team out there eventually anyway. It's exactly what we end up seeing from SMU. They're punting away to one of the most dangerous return men in the game.
That would be Marcus Jones, and Hall kicks it right to him, and this is something he can run with from the 25. And Jones is way out near the 45. And they'll mark him out at the 42. A 44-yard punt and a 17-yard return. Cougars trying to hand SMU their first loss. College football primetime presented by Sonos. Houston 37, number 19 SMU 34. Kick off your Week 8 NFL Sunday countdown at 10 a.m. Eastern with the Countdown crew on ESPN and the ESPN app. They'll have all the breaking stories, injury updates, and previews right up to kickoff. Looking forward to Week 8. The rest of the slate tomorrow. What a game Thursday night between the Cardinals and the Packers.
Man,
Packers handing the last unbeaten team their first loss of the season. Houston trying to give SMU their first loss. Also it's 7-0. And it's Henry dancing around, and he's tackled at the 44 by Richard Moore and Gary Wiley. As you see on the screen, those two little highlighted checks by SMU's name. They have 2 timeouts left. Really can't allow more than 1 first down, Stench, or the game's going to be out of reach. If you allow 2, that would be it.
And we've seen Houston here in the second half figure out that run game. Although well defended there, they were trying to run a counter, pull their backside guard and tackle. A good job by the backside of that SMU front to run it down.
And this one way down just inside of 1, barely gets it off. Now Toon under pressure, and he'll give himself up. And they'll say at the 44-yard line, DeVere Levelston running the whole field with him, and Coach Dykes not electing to use one of those timeouts. Doesn't have to with this much time left. This will be a huge play, though, on 3rd and 7.
That's the 9th time that Clayton Toon has scrambled for positive yardage. He's done a great job tonight managing those opportunities. You don't want to do too much, and they've said that. Dana Holgerson said, look, man, he's done a great job of playing better in the pocket. He had to when he was injured.
This has probably been the difference in the game. The Cougars' ability to convert 3rd downs. They're 9 of 15. They need to get to the SMU 48. Toon drifting back on the run. And he's down at the 41-yard line. And the SMU defense, led by DeVere Levelston, does its job.
That time they loaded it up. Jim Levitt said, forget it. We're not going to try to play coverage here. Ended up with a free runner right up the middle. Great job that time. Richard Moore came unblocked. Got Clayton Toon scrambling once again. And he just tried to survive and pick up yards.
SMU only has 1 timeout left. Tuesday, we'll have the exclusive reveal of the college football playoff top 25 rankings. Reese and the guys will break them down from top to bottom, have coaches' reactions, as well as a live interview with committee chairman Gary Barta, the University of Iowa AD. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN and the ESPN app. 1 app, 1 tap. We could see both of these teams in the top 25 if the Cougars hold on and win this game tonight. SMU, if they're able to come back and win it, certainly would be in that top 25 as one of the few remaining unbeaten teams. Now the 2nd punt of the night for Lane Wilkins. Jaylene Record is going to drift back to his 14-yard line and call another fair catch with 2:04 to go. SMU needs to drive the field to give themselves a chance to tie or win the game.
Programming note for you, for those of you looking for Virginia and BYU, Bronco Mendenhall back in Provo. That game is now currently airing on the ESPN app. And when they're done in Houston, you'll see the conclusion right here on ESPN2. Taylor?
Against the Broncos, the Wahoos of Virginia have had a good season. They could get to the ACC championship game. These teams could get to the AAC championship game. SMU at their own 14-yard line, down a field goal with 2:04 to go and 1 timeout. Tanner Mordecai's alone in his backfield, and he throws to the sideline up to the 20, where Reggie Robertson makes the catch and gets out of bounds.
You see the offensive front right there? Every single offensive lineman cut. They just look to get those defensive linemen to get their hands down right now, but the other element is slows them down. They cannot stand to be cut. And in obvious passing downs, inside of 2 minutes, you got to know that Cougar defensive front's got their ears pinned back.
Mordecai drifts back again, sideline. It's over the head of Rashee Rice. It'll be 3rd and 4.
And right here, we've seen most of tonight, we've not seen the Mustang receivers run away from the Cougar corners. They've done a good job of either being in phase or keeping the Mustang receivers in front. There have been a lot of contested throws. We'll see if the Cougars play coverage and just rush with their front four.
SMU's just 1 of 4 on 3rd down in the second half. Mordecai with flags on the field, incomplete.
Rice, the intended receiver, it falls incomplete. We've got a flag in the backfield.
I think they're going to get a chop block on Trey Siggers. I think the flag came out thinking it was going to be a chop block, that is.
There is no foul for a chop block. The contact was legal. It's 4th down.
Yeah, it looked like it was a good job by the officials on the field. You know, once again, they confer with one another to make sure they got it right. Regardless, here's your game.
Mustangs must convert, or it's their first loss of the season.
And Sonny Dykes said it, when I turn on film, it's can our 5 block their 4, and it comes down to this. You got a back there to help in protection.
Mordecai, a bullet to the 35, 1st down, Rashee Rice.
How about that under duress? As he's being hit, and Mordecai with another strike over the middle.
90 seconds left. Mordecai dumps it off, and it goes off of Siggers. Clock stops with 1:30 remaining. SMU needs probably about 35, maybe even 40 yards to give themselves a reasonable chance at a Blake Mazza field goal. His long on the season is just 38. He did kick a 51-yarder for Washington State a few years ago. It's 2nd and 10. This could be a free play. And Calcaterra is going to get up to the 49-yard line, and they make use of it as Demarion Williams makes the tackle, but it's a 14-yard grab with 1:23 to go.
How about the timing of that? We haven't seen them use a freeze cadence, I think, the entire night. And then you do it, you just platoon. That was a fresh set of defensive linemen.
Defense number 12. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is a 1st down.
They waited on it. They did a good job of staying in. The clock will start on the snap. So what he said was, with that cadence, you get that free play. Of course, you take the Calcaterra yards, but great timing and use of that cadence to neutralize some of the pass rush. Now they're going to think twice on this first step.
Mordecai throwing the fade, incomplete to Curley, and there's the flag. He had no chance at the football. It's Alex Hogan who never looked back.
And the flag came from the back judge, not the side judge.
Pass interference. Defense number 19. 15-yard penalty. Automatic. 1st down.
Wow. That was a huge call. This ball hung up forever. Now watch Hogan. I don't see it. I don't know if that's enough guy. He gets his head around. He's trying to play that ball. He wasn't completely turned. There was minimal contact.
Down to the 36-yard line. And that is Siggers. Elias Bell on the tackle Clock approaching 1 minute left. Still need probably another first down to give Mazza a reasonable chance at tying the game. Mordecai's got more on his mind than that. Siggers gets out of bounds after a minimal pickup. It'll be third down as Marcus Jones was running with him.
The ball comes out a little bit earlier, and Siggers has a chance to turn it upfield and pick up more yards. He was not covered.
There's Blake Mazza, and again, Stinch, he is 0 for 1 from 40 plus this year. He did have a 51-yarder for Wazoo a few years ago, but need another first down to give him a reasonable chance. Mordecai throws down inside the 30 to the 28, and what? Danny Gray gets the catch. Owens with the tackle, and this now is fourth down, 4th and 2. And Sonny Dykes is going to let the clock run down before he has to make a decision here. And again, a 45-yarder would be the long on the season for Mazza if he decides to go that route. Let's take a look at our pick for tonight's Downey unstoppable player, and no question it's Nathaniel Tank Dell. 3 touchdown grabs.
And it started early, setting the tone, explosive plays. That ended up being the theme of the night, certainly in the first half for the Cougar offense. And we've been saying all season, man, it just seems kind of an efficient, kind of tic-tac your way down the field type of offense. Not tonight. It's been bombs and haymakers for both these offenses, but Nathaniel Tank Dell, he's been the one that's been the detonator for the Cougar offense.
Stinch, what do you do here? Do you attempt a 42-yard field goal with a guy that hasn't made one from 40 plus in Blake Mazza? Do you attempt it with Brendan Hall, who's their longer kicker? He hasn't made one this year. Or do you go for it?
I think you go for it. I mean, to me, you're talking about one of the best offenses in the country. You either trust them or you don't. They've done a great job here on this drive, and they're going to do just that.
You see him, he made it from 52 in the pregame, but he hasn't made them in the game so far this season, so they want more yards. The game hanging in the balance at the 28-yard line.
Here's Calcaterra. They like him a lot in these situations.
Week 8, Monday Night Football, a very big game for both teams. The Giants need to make it 2 wins in a row to get back in the race in the NFC East, while the Chiefs are in a virtual must-win situation. It's 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and the Mannings, of course, are on ESPN2 on Monday Night Football with Peyton and Eli. Coverage begins with Monday Night Countdown at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific. So you like number 88, Craig Grant Calcaterra here.
I think it's not just me that likes him. I think it's Tanner Mordecai. And now, after the timeout,
wow, they changed
really
their minds. Well, we know that Mazza's got the leg for it, given what he did for Washington State a few years ago. But he hasn't done it in a game this year. 0 for 1 from 40 plus. This officially a 46-yard field goal try to tie the game with 35 seconds left. Right through there.
Mazza's kick is good.
Mazza ties it up with 30 seconds to go.
How about that? How about that kid? Just stripes it. He definitely believed he could do it. You know, it's one. Wow, I'm surprised that thing didn't get blocked. Boy, there was a lot of penetration. As it is, he splits the uprights. That's one thing to do it in your pajamas and pregame.
Yeah.
But when you put on your uniform, you got bodies flying everywhere. How about this game? How about that drive, for that matter? You got to think back to that defensive pass interference call. Huge penalty. Seen a couple of those here in the second half. That one, of course, buying some free yardage for the Mustang offense. And hey, look, coming into this game, we thought this is going to be really even. And it certainly has proven out to be that way.
Yeah, we did. I mean, going into the game, the Football Power Index said it was the closest matchup of the season, giving SMU a 50.1% chance to win the game. And with 30 seconds to go, that's exactly what we've gotten now. Marcus Jones may say, guys, if they kick it to me, hold the phone. And they're doing just that. He's going to take it 2 yards deep. Look at this. He had 8 career kick returns for touchdowns. Make it 9. Marcus Jones. A flag does come down at the end of the play, and that's because every Cougar has left the bench.
Unreal. Are you not entertained? There's been nothing but just 2 teams standing in the center of the ring, seeing who's going to stand up at the end. 2 100-plus yard kick returns in the same game, 1 for each team. I'm shocked that SMU kicks that ball to Marcus Jones again. They have not kicked away from him all night, not in the punt game, not in the kickoffs.
Result of the play is a touchdown. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, receiving team number 73 for removing his helmet. A 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
I guess you got to choose somebody, right? I mean, the whole sideline was going berserk. You got to pick one guy.
It's just crazy. I mean, look at that graphic there. That's the 4th he's had this season. A couple punt returns that he took to the house against Grambling and Navy. Took one last week all the way back against East Carolina on a kick return and does it again 100 yards tonight. And it's a 7-point lead with 17 seconds to go.
17 seconds left in the game. Your hosting Cougars, 44.
He's had multiple opportunities tonight. It's been close a couple of times. And when they needed it the most, well, their best players, maybe their best player, comes through for the Cougars. We asked him yesterday, what makes a great return man? He says, you just got to be decisive. I don't dance, I get upfield. And boy, he did here.
Brendan Hall, that kicked that off, is the only person that ever touched him. And right here, he tried to go up high instead of going for the legs. That was the only guy that had a chance in those 100 yards. And Jones, one of the best ever in college football and special teams, does it again. Now, keep this in mind. Houston is going to kick this off from their own 20-yard line. And Brian Massey took the second half kickoff back 100 yards.
There's no way, couple of options here. So you sky kick it. The danger that you run into if you squib it, given a shorter field. Either way, you don't want Brian Massey ending up with the ball in his hands at the end of this kick. As you see the return men advancing, typically they're right around their own end zone. Massey's out. They're going to receive this kick or anticipate it around the 15.
Yeah, Danny Gray is back there with him. That's Gray at the bottom of your screen and Massey at the top. Kicked off by Dalton Witherspoon. And they squib it instead. And it bounces all the way back to Massey at the 29-yard line. Massey is past the 50. On his feet down to the 34.
Massey with a return.
That's the danger you run. You squib it down there. Massey gets it clean. He runs right into this ball. So it hops right to him. Sometimes you'll see it, they have to kind of gather the ball at their feet, and instead, watch this ball run right to him. fields it on a hop like a shortstop, and then he gets upfield right now. What do we say at the Open to win those special teams? Before that last kickoff return by Marcus Jones, you could say SMU winning in that special teams battle, certainly with that return, you've got an opportunity to take a shot at this end zone.
They marked Massey down at the 35, maybe a chance for 2 plays. Could go to the sideline or take 2 cracks at the end zone.
Got to come out quick. You see him check.
Mordecai heaves it on what will be the last play of the game. Incomplete. Houston hands SMU their first loss of the season, and they're on the field at TD ECU Stadium.
Houston Athletics and the American Athletic Conference kindly ask that you stay off of the field.
The PA announcer here doing his best to keep the fans off the field. It did not work. They are jumping the walls like crazy to celebrate this victory over number 19, SMU. Hadn't dropped a game since the opener.
And there are 2 teams at the top of the American standings, Cincinnati and the Houston Cougars, who are undefeated in conference play, and somewhere down there are Dana Holgerson and Alyssa Lang.
What was going through your mind when they, Coach, what was going through your mind when they kicked that ball to Marcus Jones?
I said, I don't care where you catch it. I want you to return it. If they didn't kick it out of the back of the end zone, we were going to have a chance right there. So he's the best returner I've ever been around. I said that on the call a couple days ago, and he just continues to do things that amaze me.
Career night for Clayton Tune. What'd you think about the way he led your offense?
I thought he played well. I thought he played really well. He sat in the pocket. He threw for over 400 yards. Got us in some good run plays. Very proud of his performance.
You talk about the buy-in with this team. What does that win mean to this program?
Well, we're on track. I mean, they're buying in. They're practicing hard. They're playing hard. It's important to them. So very proud of our football team.
Congrats, Coach.
Thank you.
Dana Holgerson gets the big win, and Houston beats Dallas tonight in H-Town. Our final score, the Houston Cougars 44, 19th ranked SMU 37. For Matt Stinchcomb, Alyssa Lang, and our entire crew here in Houston, I'm Taylor Zarzer. Let's head over to Lavelle Edwards Stadium in Provo, Utah, where Virginia is taking on BYU.